Hey, it's Grady at Twin Creek Audio. It's cold in the studio today, so I've got on my leather jacket. Today I wanted to share with you one of my songs. This is from my Moondust album from 2011, so almost a 10-year-old album that I put out. And I remixed this album to put it out on all the streaming services last year in 2019. But I haven't done an out-of-the-box mix or a console mix of this song before. So I'm going to try and do that for you today. A little bit of explanation about what you're going to hear. A lot of this stuff was tracked with compression. The guitar tracks, all the guitar tracks you're going to hear, and the vocal track were tracked through a Great River ME1NV mic preamp. And on the lead vocal at least, I used an FMR Audio RNC compressor in super nice mode. So that's the compression that you're hearing on the voice was what it was tracked with. The guitar tracks all tracked through the Great River. The drum tracks on this album were not tracked through the Soundtracs Topaz. I actually had a Soundcraft Ghost. So the Ghost preamps were used on the drums that you're going to hear on this track. The drum kit is my 67 Ludwig Keystone Badge kit that you've seen in a lot of my videos. The only difference in the kit is the snare drum. Back then I was using a Rogers Powertone snare. I still have that drum, but I've been using the Ludwig Acrolite drum, snare drum with the set for most of these recent videos and on more recent projects. I need to get out the Powertone sometime. Actually, I've got a lot of snare drums. If any of y'all want to see my collection of snare drums that I have, I've got quite a few. Leave a comment, I'll make a video and show all the snare drums I've got here in the studio too. But today, I'm just going to mix this song, Sunspots and Moonbeams from my 2011 Moondust album, through the Soundtracs Topaz. I'm going to use the LA Audio 4x4 compressor on the subgroups like I do in a lot of these videos for some parallel compression, and I'm using the Yuri LA10, which I did a video about the other day. That's going to be used on the bass guitar on this song because I did not track the bass with any compression back in the day. Now the bass guitar you're hearing was a PV Patriot bass with a single PV Super Ferrite pickup. The drums, the Ludwig kit with a different snare drum. The guitars, back then I had a Gibson L6S. I had a 2002 Faded Flying V. So that's a lot of the guitar parts you're going to hear are those two Gibson guitars. I had a Marshall Class 5 amp. So a lot of the overdriven sounds are going to be the Marshall Class 5. And the clean guitars are most likely a Fender Twin Reverb because I used to have a really nice 1971 Twin. And a lot of the stuff I did back in those days I used the Twin, usually mic'd with an SM57. So hopefully that's a decent explanation of the tones that you're going to be hearing on these tracks. And now let me show you what all I've got here and what outboard gear I'm using and some close-up shots, and then we'll mix this song through the console. Coming up on the console, I've got kick drum, snare drum, I've got stereo toms, that's a combination of the 3 tom mics. Then I have stereo overheads plus the hi-hat mic, and a mono room mic is mixed into this stereo pair too at kind of a low level. Bass guitar, this is guitar, it's got a star because that's the main guitar that starts the song, that plays the main guitar part through most of the song. Then we've got medium guitar and H guitars. That's kind of a medium driven guitar and a heavier, more overdrive guitar. The guitar solo, the lead vocal, a stereo pair for Heath's wonderful background vocals, and then the reverb return from the Yamaha Rev 500. That's the main guitar track, what that sounds like. Medium crunchy guitars. The combination of all the crunchy guitars together. I'm going to start from the top with this rack gear. You can see the shadow of the microphone, so I hope you can hear me better. I'm using external mics on the camera for all these close-up shots now. I'm using the room ambience preset, and I've tweaked the high ratio to 0.6. The default is 0.4. Then I'm using the Yuri LA10 on bass guitar. There's the settings on that. That ratio, if you can't see that, that's about 4:1. And then the LA Audio 4x4 compressor down here. Those are the settings on that. 2 millisecond attack. 0.7 release. Ratio is almost at 6. Because I'm using this for parallel compression, so I actually do want it to compress a little bit on the transients on the drums that I send to that. So that's the rack gear. That's all I'm really using on this mix, because like I said in the intro, that a lot of this stuff was recorded and tracked with compression in the first place. A couple things about what I'm doing. I'm using the external reverb, and what I'm sending to that is the background vocals. The background vocals also had the Vacuum Sound ADT plugin that I've shown you in one of the other mixing videos I've done. I really like that plugin, so the background vocals do have an in-the-box ADT plugin, and they're also going out of the aux send on the Topaz over to the Rev 500, and of course that's being returned here in stereo on channel 17 and 18 on the Topaz. And as usual, I've dipped out a little bit with the 80 Hz low shelf EQ on the Topaz, and I've added a little bit of 12 kilohertz to the reverb returns. We're mainly hearing background vocals, the lead guitar, and the lead vocal through the reverb. The only reverb on the drums is the mono room mic that's mixed in with the overhead tracks. So that's just a little bit more explanation. I don't have any EQ going on the console except with the reverb return, and I boosted a little bit of 7 kilohertz and a little bit of 235 hertz on the snare drum to make it sound a little more solid. That's really it, other than I'm running the kick snare and toms through the compression submix here on the subgroups, kind of like a lot of the other mix videos I've done. So if you haven't seen some of those, check them all out. Leave a comment, let me know which one you like best. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and mix this song through the Topaz so we can hear what this sounds like. So I hope you enjoyed the latest in my series of mixing videos using the Soundtracs Topaz recording console. I also made a lot of more informational videos about this console. There's a playlist on this channel, Soundtracs Topaz, and it has the details, the way to connect it to an interface, and then a lot of these mixing demonstration videos and other things. So make sure you check out the entire Soundtracs Topaz playlist. Probably I've done a mixing video in whatever style that you're interested in, but if I haven't, let me know. A lot of the stuff that I mix, they're either things I have permission to use or they're my own material. So if there's a particular type of thing you want to hear me mix through the Soundtracs Topaz, leave a comment, get in touch with me. I'll see if I can make it happen for you. Anyway, I appreciate you watching this video. Make sure to check out all the links in the video description, including the link to the 2011 album Moondust that the song I mixed today was actually taken from. I also hope you have an excellent day, night, evening, weekend, weekday, hour, minute, second, nanosecond, whatever it is that you're having. Have a good one, and thanks so much for watching.